Oh, here, call the meeting to order at 7:02 p.m.
Marion Secchi. Here. Anson Downs is absent. Tina Wanio here. Rich Flanagan. Here. Pat Gauchowski. Here. Jack Kowalski.
Here.
Dave Satura.
Here.
Also in attendance is Dr. Kim Borshowski, Mr. Jeremy Donson, Ms. Kim Klein, Ms. Kathy Brandt, Mr. Eric Humbles, Mr. Mike Deeney, Mrs. Jane Resack, Mrs. Constance Stocco, Dr. Kristen Kappa, Mrs. Donna Maglioni, Mr. Brian Amsler, Ms. Louise Stumper, and Ms. Margaret Costopoulos.
Hey, Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Consent agenda. I would like to entertain a motion that the Board of Education establish the consent agenda items as presented. Approval of minutes from the regular meeting of the executive session of March 19th. Authorization to pay the bills in the amount of $257,467.78. Approval of payroll for March 2014 in the amount of $810,726.64. And a finance update. Motion by, was it Rich? Yeah. Motion by Rich, second by Pat. Any questions?
Gauchowski. Yes. Kowalski.
Yes.
Satura.
Yes.
Secchi.
Yes.
Wanio, yes. Flanagan.
Yes.
Okay. I would like to entertain a motion that the Board of Education approve the consent agenda.
Also move. A second.
Pat and Tina.
Gauchowski. Yes. Kowalski.
Yes.
Satura.
Yes.
Secchi.
Yes.
Wanio, yes. Flanagan.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, we have two items that have been removed from the consent agenda. Payment of legal bills. Ansel and Glink. I would like to entertain a motion that the Board of Education pay the Ansel and Glink legal bill in the amount of $7,768.52 as presented.
I'll move.
Pat? We'll do both at once?
They're listed as two separate items.
Yeah.
Sorry. Clarification.
I'll second.
Second by Tina. Any questions?
Can I just get one thing, Margaret? Thank you for sending me the answers that we had, and then we have a chance to summarize. Sure. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Tina?
Gauchowski? Yes. Kowalski?
Yes.
Satura?
Yes.
Secchi?
Yes.
Wanio, yes. Flanagan?
Yes.
Part B, Scariano, Hines, and Patrega. I would like to entertain a motion, the Board of Education pay the Scariano, Hines, and Patrega legal bills in the amount of $12,663.07 as presented.
Move.
Rich? I'll second. Any questions?
Gauchowski? Yes. Kowalski?
Yes.
Satura?
Yes.
Secchi?
Yes.
Wanio, yes. Flanagan?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, public participation. We only have three tonight. Gina?
I'm happy to start. Good evening. I'm Gina Harris, I'm a member of the Schiller Park Education Association. Muhammad Ali said, "Service to others is the rent you pay for your room here on earth." No one exemplifies this quite like Elpidio Narvaez, 5th grade teacher at Washington School in Schiller Park. He was recently recognized by the Illinois Education Association as the recipient of the 2014 Dredge Weaver Human and Civil Rights Award. This organization, comprised of 130,000 educators, selects one individual to honor for outstanding contributions to his or her community in the area of human and civil rights. Did he walk in?
Yes.
President who focused on helping children in need. The Reg Weaver Human and Civil Rights Award is given to a nominee whose activities around closing the gaps for children in America and around the world have made a significant impact in students' lives. Mr. Narvaez is the founder and organizer of the annual Project Hartwell 5K Walk Run. Launched 3 years ago, this endeavor has raised thousands of dollars. It has benefited not only Schiller Park and Franklin Park communities, but has brought fresh drinking water to a small village in Kamwege, Uganda. He has shown by his example that we can all make a difference in the lives of others. In addition, he helped facilitate a reading club outside of the regular school day. He and his colleague, Mary Crin, meet weekly with students at the Schiller Park Library, offering additional support to ensure their students' success. We are very proud of the work Mr. Narvaez does, not only locally but globally, to raise awareness of the value of giving back to one's community. He truly epitomizes what we all should aspire to do in our communities. He is just one example of the outstanding SPEA members that we are fortunate to have here in Schiller Park. Thank you, PJ. DJ spoke in front of a group of about 1,200 IEA members. He did such an amazing job and people were so moved, and that will be on our Facebook page.
Thank you, sir. Congratulations on behalf of the board.
Thank you very much. I'd like to add something. I pretty much knew you were a special guy when my youngest came home and told me, you need to meet Mr. Narvaez. He is so wonderful.
Okay, Jennifer Fiala or Jenna Fiala?
Hello, my name is Jenna Fiala. I live at 3733 Scott Street. I'm here today to talk about our bullying campaign, Operation Take a Stand. I'm doing this with my friend Nicole. Nicole and I have so far put together an assembly and it has special guests, Jim Wade and Missy Wade. We want to keep getting funds because next year we want to go district-wide and do more with our campaign. We are selling our Operation Take a Stand bracelets for $1 and accepting donations. I would like to thank Ms. Rosalvo and Dr. Kata for all their support, time, and donations to Operation Take a Stand. I would also like to thank the board in advance for your support. Thank you for your time. See you after the meeting.
And when you're done, come up to the board table with your badge at the end of the meeting if you're still here. Yeah. Come up before executive session. Jennifer Yarnell.
Jennifer Yarnell, 4318 Westwood Terrace.
Good evening.
Good job. Hi. I truly hope not to be up here again to speak to all of you, and I expect you all not to see me again. I feel I've made my position very clear on many issues, but my conscience would not allow me to walk away from this one. Just for anyone who may not have a conscience, it's that little voice in your head that nags at you when you know something is not right. As many people may be aware, there is a Schiller Park blog. This blog posts, in my opinion, the most horrible, hideous things about people in this community, more importantly, members of this board and our superintendent, and gets away with it by abusing our Constitution using it as a blanket to cover their behavior. I would not normally bring this up, as I understand that there really is not much this board can do, or more so, I believe, not much the board would be willing to do to stop these character assassinations. Having said that, the Coward 2 blog on this site took it to a new level when they started posting about District 81, its children, and an accused child pornographer. Now, I've sat here for almost a year listening to tens of thousands of dollars being paid to answer blink for things that only the president and vice president of this board seem to understand. Now it is time they truly start earning their money. I am so tired of wasting time every month doing nothing. You do not support our teachers, you do not support our administrators, you do not support our parents, you do not support the taxpayers, and thus far you do not support the children. I am requesting that this board and their million-dollar lawyers investigate the disgusting, vile people who post on this blog, and let me repeat so that everybody understands. A blog that is now trying to connect our children to an accused child pornographer. I have tried to be a team player. I have tried to get up and speak respectfully to all of you. I have tried to follow the procedures and stand up for myself and my child, but when it comes to something like this, my rules go out the window. I implore you for once in your term, do the right thing. Again, our children and an accused child pornographer. If anyone sitting on this board does not see the importance of pursuing this issue and attempting to disband this blog, then you do not deserve to sit in that seat. In fact, you should not be allowed to walk into this building. Here is my question, so I am clear, here is my question to the District 81 Board of Education. I would like to know what you are going to do about this issue and how you are going to protect the children of this school district. We need answers, we need actions. I want this board and Answer Blink to commit to legal action against anyone connected to this blog to the fullest extent allowed by law. I'm not just walking away, waiting to the next board meeting, let's see what happens, maybe someone will answer, not this time. We need answers and we need action. In closing, let me say I understand that I got up last month and submitted a petition asking for the removal of Answer Blink. And I am still 100% in support of that. In fact, I have 50 more signatures and more to come and turn in today. However, I figured as long as they are here, they should be doing something to earn their money.
Thank you. Okay, are you done?
I am done.
Before we go to executive session this evening, I want to talk.
Okay, excellent, thank you.
That's it for public participation. Principal reports. Any questions on the principal report? Okay, examples of excellence. I'd like everybody to stand up and give a big round of applause to the Lady Lightning.
Board of Education and your trophies. We have some delicious cake that we're going to have right now. We are so proud of you. Thank you so much, and thanks for your coaching.
All our players and a little something on the side with it. Mr. Angler, can you take care of this?
We make sure you go around the table and stand behind the ladies.
Yeah, if you could, that would be great. But I can't see all of you. Okay, coaches.
Yeah,
Coaches.
There they are.
just have Ms. O'Rourke and Ms. Hillard come up here and just kind of talk about the season real quick, and then we'll announce the kids.
Let's get a picture by the cake.
We'll get a picture of the cake first. Okay, Ms. O'Rourke, you want to just kind of tell the board about our season?
First, I just want to say that we are so very proud of our girls. This year, they finished first in our division. They finished first with a 9-1 record. We went into the tournament and we finished first with a 12-1 record, which is where we got the trophy from. And I want to say that these girls worked so hard. 5 days a week, practice after a long day of school. There were even times during the game where we had to change uniforms because we had blood all over it, scratches, bruises, anything you can imagine we experienced. And I cannot wait until next year to see what these girls bring us back from the tournament. So congratulations. Me and Ms. Hillers are really proud of you. Yes.
Can I get Ms. Hillard to come on? Yeah, come on. No, Ms. O'Rourke.
Cake time.
There.
Thank you. First of all, my apologies to the audience that my back will be to you during this presentation to the board, but such is.
You can take that off there, come on.
I think I'll be fine. Yes, sir.
Someone has lost a cell phone.
Good evening. I am Laurel DePrima. I am one of the 6 field service directors with your Illinois Association of School Boards. And I thank you for having me here tonight to talk to you about strategic planning work with the Illinois Association of School Boards. I know you've had presentations from other entities, and I'll tell you in advance that our approach is probably a little different from theirs. You probably know that. And all of us would do a good job for you, I am absolutely sure. It's just that sometimes we have different approaches, different focuses. First of all, I'm happy to be back in Schiller Park. You would not know this, most of you, but in fact tonight I was kind of worried I was going the wrong place because I spent many an hour with Mary Ann and other members of the board in the previous administration doing an update of your policy manual, and then worked with the superintendent in developing administrative procedures. And that was way back at the beginning of my career with ISB, and now I'm almost at the end of my career with ISB. So anyway, it's nice to be here this evening. As I say, we are the School of Board Association, and we really look at strategic planning from the viewpoint of a Board of Education. When we hear the word strategic planning, to us there are 2 pieces to that. There's the setting, the strategy piece, and then there's the actual planning piece. And those don't always necessarily need to be done by the same people. So, and I think you'll see where we're going with this as we go forward. Any of you who have hung around the School Board Association know that all of the work we do really is centered around our foundational principles of effective governance, which we really believe is the job description for a Board of Education, what you were elected to do. And at least 5 of these 6 principles are really connected to the strategic planning, setting goals, and direction work that you are about to undertake. And let me just quickly go through these only to make the connections. First of all, the most important thing a Board of Education does is to clarify the district's purpose. And that's really what the setting strategic goals and direction is all about. So, number 1, most important thing you do is about what you're about to set out to do. And when we talk about clarifying the district's purpose, we talk about developing district ends, and we use that word ends on purpose to differentiate from means, and constantly asking who gets what benefits for how much, who are our beneficiaries, what programs and services do we offer, and how much are we able to pay. That's the main job of a Board of Education. And so that is, and then once we do that, we express that in terms of our mission, our core values and beliefs, our mission, our vision, and our goals. And that's what really board work is all about. In doing so, we connect with our community. We do this as a two-way kind of conversation. We need to detect what our community wants from our schools. They give us their resources, their money, and then their precious children, and they want something in return, of course. And this goal-setting process, the strategic planning process, gives us a wonderful opportunity to make that community connection, and we'll talk about that a little more in a minute. The next principles absolutely go together. The board then employs the superintendent as your chief executive officer and through her, in this case, delegates authority to the staff to carry out your ends. So when we talk about strategic planning, and I say there are two pieces to it, there's determining what direction you're going to go, and then there's actually doing so, developing the action plans and so forth to get you there. That's why you hire a superintendent and staff with the training and expertise and day-to-day experience that they have. So again, this is all wrapped up in it. The board monitors performance. Once we have our ends, then we monitor to make sure that they're being carried out. And that's a very big piece. And finally, our sixth principle is about the board, how the board works together. And that's very, very important, but probably not part of the strategic planning process. So, I love this quote. So you jump into the back of a taxi and you tell the driver to take you somewhere. And you ask where, and you say, well, it really doesn't matter. Just start driving in some direction. And I'll tell you if you're not going the right way. How many times do we, and I was a former board member, how many times do we do this? Our administration starts out doing something, and we say, oh, why are you doing that? Well, it's up to us to point that way, to make sense of that roadmap, and then the administration can take it from there. So what do we want? We don't want those roads going in all directions. We want what Malcolm Aldrich calls vertical alignment. All the pieces of the district going in the same direction. And that's what the goal-setting process that you're about to take is all about. When we talk about ends, and I mentioned this before, we're talking about our core values and beliefs. I hope everyone in this room has some shared core values and beliefs about public education, about students, what student learning is about teachers and teaching. Wonderful example you had here tonight, what we value about that, about the district's responsibility to the community and the community's responsibility to the district. I hope we all share some core values and beliefs about that. And what Schiller Park community may believe about that may be different from a community a few miles away. I don't know, but those belong to you. We then determine our mission, why it is we exist, what role we play that no one else in the community can play, and we have our vision of where we're going. This is board work. And then we establish our district level goals. That's really the piece of strategic planning that totally belongs to the Board of Education. That was why we were elected. Why are they important? Well, again, they drive the organization, they empower and energize the staff. Now your staff knows what they're supposed to go do. It permits us to monitor and evaluate. We're speaking for the community when we do this. And we're ensuring that alignment between our values and our operations. I mentioned this when we were talking a little bit about ends. The board does not sit in its ivory tower here and determine ends all by itself. You do this by detecting them from your community. And that's why it's so important that during this process, we engage the community. We do a lot of study and research about why we do this and how we engage our community. And here are just some key concepts that we always keep in mind, and I hope you keep in mind as you do this work, regardless of whether you do it with IASB or with someone else. We're not just trying to get some input. We're trying to engage our citizens in helping us make decisions for their community. We engage them as owners of the community, not as customers. We want to hear all different voices. We don't just assume that everyone in one community has the same opinions. We need a diversity of voices, not just demographics. We want synergy, not consensus. In other words, we could all sit together and say, okay, we could come to kind of down to the least common denominator that we can all agree on, or we can say, okay, let's come up with a solution that works for all of us. And sometimes that means coming up with something new. And we seek to educate, not merely inform. When you do this work, you're all going to learn together. You definitely are. So, if you work with ISB on this type of project, we start at the beginning with the board, with the key administrators who are going to participate. Hopefully, you are going to invite in staff and some community representatives, and we have these discussions about our values and missions. We look at our mission, we create a vision for your future, and then these goals. Okay. Now, board, this is where this may be different from what you may have heard from the other associations that you may have had in to talk to you. At this point, we believe that the board stops speaking. Turn things over to your administration to develop action plans to implement your district ends. We believe that you have the staff who are trained and qualified and are on the ground here every day, and they are the ones best equipped to develop these plans. Once these plans are developed, you and the administration agree on performance indicators, measurements. What data are we going to look at to make sure we're accomplishing our goals? And then it's the superintendent's business to ensure alignment throughout the district. Every building, every classroom, every student, there needs to be alignment. Then we monitor our performance and eventually review the process. Now, what form, what shape would this take? That's pretty much up to you. I would hope, and I think, that you are going to include community and staff and administration in this process. I think generally for a district of this size, I've had experience where we can come together for a full-day workshop where we begin the work. It's very focused. It's very facilitated, and we get a whole lot done. And perhaps after that, you might work with your field service director to maybe tweak some of that, to really prioritize what you have, and maybe make the language a little more elegant, whatever. And so that might take 1 or 2 additional meetings. But at that point, and I'll be very clear about this, the development of the action plans and so forth is turned over to your staff. So I know you've done some goals work in the past with your former field service director, Jeff Cohn. By the way, I bring you greetings from Jeff, and your new field service director actually has been selected, but not announced yet. But I rest assured that the person who you would work with to do this work in the association would be someone very experienced in goals work. All of us do this type of thing all the time. So at this point, I'd like to open it up to the board if you have particular questions for me. Mary Ann.
How many people would you see in these workshops?
Typically. That's a very good question. If one tries to do it in one day, getting representatives, I'd say somewhere between, if we're really going to include people, somewhere between 40 and 100. I would say beyond that, only because we do this in small groups so that everyone has a chance to participate and be heard, but then we do a lot of sharing. And we run out of time if we don't. And we try to have a good mix at each table of board and staff and community, and so you have great conversations. Frankly, you do see a lot of commonality, but I think partly it just becomes of how much you can manage. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Do you have districts that have used your program that might be willing to share with us what their experience was?
Absolutely, we're happy. She had asked whether we've done this work with other districts and if they'd be willing to share their experience. Absolutely, we can get you a list of those. Some then even go as far as using our publishing facilities to print the results and so forth, and I can share some of that with you too. I mean, frankly now, a lot of the stuff goes online, and I'm not sure those glossy publications are worth what they used to be, but yes, I'd be happy to share that with you, and I'll get that to you. Yes?
When it comes to the community engagement, a lot of the other people say they do a survey of the community, so would there be a survey of the community and then we would have a few representatives of the community at the meetings, or how does that work with the IASB?
Yeah, with us, no, we do not do a community survey piece. We feel, and again, it's just a difference of styles, we feel that the board, if they do a good job of selecting these diverse, the voices who come and participate, really do hear from the community. You get a lot of survey information anyway, and you're going to continue to do so. Are you using the iPhone? Yeah. So you're probably getting that kind of survey information anyway. So you come kind of to the table representing everyone. But no, we do not do that survey piece. We want and then one more reason for that is we don't want to interpret for the board what your community is saying. We want you to hear it from your community. There's a distinction there. If you have no more questions on that, your board president had asked me to touch base with you just quickly on board self-evaluation, which is something that is, let's say, a board activity which you do almost uniquely with Illinois Association of School Boards, because by law, we're the ones with which you do this. And I know, again, you've worked with Jeff in the past, doing types of workshops that qualify in a sense as a board self-evaluation. But I did bring you a brochure this evening on the more formal type of board self-evaluation that we recommend boards engage in at least once every 2 years, preferably every year. And basically this is a more formal type where board members in advance complete a survey. And it's really rating yourselves as a board against those foundational principles we talked about a few minutes ago. And there's room for comment and all of that, and then your field service director collates that information into a report for you with graphics and everything else. And there's room for comments. And then that document becomes the basis for a discussion, which may be done in executive session as allowed by law. And then out of that often comes some next steps where a board might say, you know, we need a little more help in a certain area, and you might identify some next steps, something that you want to work on as a board. We do know there's research now that says boards who do this do become more effective. So I bring that just to your attention. I know you've done quite a bit of work with Jeff in the past, but you had asked me about that, so I would bring that to your attention. Anything else?
Anything else? Anybody?
Kim, do we have any idea who our field service director is now? Okay.
No, you will. The decision, the person accepted the job today. It just hasn't been announced yet. But again, no, even though we all come with different levels of experience, you would do this work with someone who's had substantial experience in this area. And then your field service director would certainly be part of that, but might not, in this particular case, be the only one.
Thank you, Laurel. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice to see you again.
You guys got to put your microphones forward. Even I can't hear
Sorry.
down here.
I was saying, I'm assuming that we are interested in doing this board evaluation, if that would be done at a retreat, a special meeting, or if we have an idea of when that would go on our calendar.
So Dave, maybe you and I can work on crafting an email and get some dates together to send out to the board so we can get that scheduled.
Hold the board, see what you have. Whatever month you want to do it.
Is that good? Okay, Dave and I'll work on that and get an email out to you.
New board policy, first reading, District 81 drug and alcohol policy and procedure. Have any questions on that?
I would like to make a statement that at first I didn't see a need for this policy, but I completely overlooked the fact that this year medical marijuana is legal in the state of Illinois. And seeing that, I now do see the need for this policy.
I just look at it, I mean, wherever I work, it's, you get an accident or a vehicle, it was mandatory. You got tested. That's a policy in a lot of businesses. Okay, board policy updates, first reading. Read all these off. Right up. Okay, it's the first reading for anybody that's looking. Facility use policy discussion. The only thing I have to say in the policy use for the facility is our policy states you have to carry insurance for our protection and for your protection. So I don't know if everybody's doing it or not, but I mean, it is required. That's got to be carried. That's all we're asking. You can use the facility, have insurance. Otherwise, we're liable.
Kim, are you aware if the music boosters or the sports boosters have insurance? Now, I know that there's change coming for those two groups, whereas before they were considered internal, and now they're being separated from the district. Is this going to impact them greatly, do you feel?
They've not presented insurance. Yes.
Okay. Well, up until this point, they have been technically part of the school.
They've been sanctioned by the school and supporting the policy.
Right. But now, and Diane, I believe you're here.
Well, Rich, I think what we're doing, we're just removing their money from our student activity accounts, so they're getting their own accounts.
Okay.
So the finances have been separated from our school account.
Okay, thank you. All right, so does that mean that all of those groups are going to have to get insurance then?
We're talking groups or like when you do the pancake breakfast. I mean, it's a separate deal, right?
Well, that's what I mean. They're a group that is going to be.
We're dealing with the public. We got 700 people came to this last time, right?
Yeah.
I mean, God forbid somebody falls, breaks their leg. We're liable.
According to our policy, though, I thought these were not mandatory if they were sanctioned by the school.
I'd have to look at the policy.
Yeah, I have the policy, and we can send it. But according to the policy that I read, as long as they're sanctioned by the school, they weren't. It would be like bringing in, I don't know, the kids that use our gym from the Catholic schools. You know, they're not sanctioned really by our schools or our district. But I guess in that case,
they covered by the school, their school?
Can I look at it?
Yeah, I just,
Yeah.
it is first discussion, so I just thought we would discuss it, so.
Right.
Should this be something that maybe our policy committee should review that? You know, since we do have the policy committee.
It is in the policy.
Maybe they could.
I just think the rational board. So we just want to make sure all the groups have insurance if they present a facility.
But I think the policy.
According to the policy.
I think only certain.
I understand.
Only certain groups have to have.
Policy says that, but the precedence has been that we've not required boosters to present insurance. So what's happening is facility requests are coming in, and the administrators are not sure if we should be signing off or how to proceed. So I just want to make sure that we, the administrators, are doing the work of the board. So if the board is saying that all groups need to present a certificate of insurance, including the boosters, that's perfectly fine. We just need some details.
Well, I think what Margaret is saying is it's a legal interpretation of the policy in order to protect the district. I think that's what I'm understanding her to say. So she feels it's right to give you protection.
So I will look at it tomorrow, and I will advise.
Okay.
Okay?
Can we notify the board? Any other questions, please? Marianne? Okay, so, out-of-state conferences. Okay, my out-of-state conferences.
We have some teachers, special education teachers that have requested to attend a conference out of state. And I wanted to bring this before the board, just to be certain that the board is comfortable with out-of-state conferences, because I know this is something that's come up. So I'm looking again for some direction. Those are grant funded. There's a process that we go through with both our IDEA and our title grants. So when teachers request or administrators request to go to out-of-state conferences, we fill out a form. We send it to the state grant manager, whomever is overseeing our grant, and they either approve or disapprove the conference. The registration is paid. All expenses are paid, including airfare. If there is airfare, rent-a-car, hotel, meals, everything can be paid with our set-aside money for the grant. Which Kathy Grant's going to talk a little bit about grant updates. But I know that this is something that has come up as a concern, so I'm looking for some direction as to whether or not the board is comfortable with me approving out-of-state professional development.
Do we have a policy on this?
I would say if it's completely covered by grants or it's already budgeted, I don't see why we shouldn't do it.
Okay.
You know, if it's already been approved in the budget and it gets approved in grant funding. I don't see what the issue.
I didn't realize that we were having an issue with it, but, I mean, if it's a grant approved and everything's got to be approved, I don't see what the issue is. Sorry, I don't see what the issue is.
Well, I think that professional development is kind of a requirement, so everybody needs to do that. And whether it's in-state or out-of-state isn't, I don't think, the issue. I think the issue is cost. And if everything is, for this particular one, if it's covered by a grant, and it's totally covered, especially the airfare, yeah, that's wonderful.
We've never sent anyone out of state without local dollars. It's always been grant funded.
Right.
So.
And the only experience I have, I never got to travel on a grant. So when I would go out of state to the National Science Teachers Conventions and we flew, my department chair made sure that I knew I was only getting $300 for the whole thing. The school paid for the cost of registration for the conference, but everything else was up to me. And so that made me responsible, and the other teachers that went, responsible for really shopping for the best price.
Well, we also put parameters on the spending. There's a daily spending amount that's allocated, but it is all funded through that.
No, that's wonderful.
Okay.
Good to know. Thank you.
Okay. You? You're up, Kathy.
Thank you.
This is a grant update.
Yes. So President Citra asked if I could please give an update on our grant allocations for fiscal year 14. Take a good look at this slide because this is the most colorful, exciting one. The rest are going to be all numbers. The far left photo was taken at the most recent career fair that occurred at Lincoln Middle School, and those two students were trying on costumes that an opera singer brought. It was such a fabulous event. There were so many interesting speakers. The Lion students came and talked about culinary arts, what they were doing, and automotive shop, all these different exciting things for the students. And Mr. Amsler is the one who writes that particular grant that's offered, and we've been a recipient of that grant for many years now. And they do a fabulous job of putting that together, and the kids were so engaged. There was everything from an MMA fighter to a computer analyst who's talking to kids about creating video games. So there was something for everyone. Very proud to be able to offer that through grant opportunity. The next photo is from our Prevention Initiative grant, which helps to fund our PATS program. Those of you know it as PATS, stands for Parents as Teachers. And Dr. Borshevsky and Mayor Hilltaber and the administrators came to visit with the students that day, and I took that great picture of families working together on early literacy and social engagement. And then the far right was from Halloween, and she is a very, very cute picture of a preschool student. And our Preschool for All program is also funded with grant dollars. So we like to be very aggressive in our efforts to secure grant awards that support innovative and sustainable education programs. And that's really what it has to be, innovative, and School District 81 is always innovative, but we have to be sustainable. We don't want to start a program and take grant dollars that we know that we can't continue. So we're very thoughtful and very aggressive in our approach to getting the grant funding. So first I'd like to, I told you, this is not nearly as exciting as the pictures of kids, but the money's exciting. Our Title I funding is definitely a strings attached grant opportunity. And by that I mean we work very hard with the Illinois State Board of Education and all the parameters that they set. And it's very painstaking to get that grant approved and make sure expenditure reports are correct, but it's definitely worth it. These are just a couple examples. It's not inclusive, but just to give you an idea that we have paid for, this year we're paying for 6 salaries and benefits of 6 paraprofessionals. We do our technology refresh and purchase interventions in math and reading particularly with that money. And just to point out to the board that the professional development set aside that Dr. Borshevsky referred to, this is a percentage of the grant that's set aside specifically for professional development. And when we say professional development, we need workshops, conferences, and also tuition reimbursement. So that leads into Title II, which is part of the NCLP Consolidated Grant. This is where the majority of our tuition reimbursement across the district gets paid from. So that ELL program that our teachers are going back to be able to provide services to their students, that's where that money comes from Title II, the majority of it. So when we talk about teachers going out of state, it's a wonderful benefit that they can get the expenses paid to, so the district isn't consuming costs of airfare and things like that. Title III is also a formula grant that we get for our ELL and bilingual programs. And S&B is short for salaries and benefits are getting paid out of this particular grant. Same with bilingual programs, ESL bilingual programs, that's a large grant. We use the majority of that to pay for salary and benefits. IDEA Part B flow-through is specifically for special education. We use those dollars to pay for service providers. So anything that our children need, speech pathology, occupational therapy, various health services. We might contract with nurses. That comes out of that particular grant. And those of you who are familiar with me, pulled out of the co-op, we got control of this funding instead of belonging to the co-op. So the district was able to take back this large chunk of money and be able to decide what to do with it. There is a professional development set aside in this grant as well.
So we're looking at about $15,000 out of this grant to put aside for professional development. And then we have a smaller grant for our preschool, special and idea preschool, which is about $5,000. So these are formula grants, and formula grants are typically calculated and generated by a criteria that the state and federal government is looking for, or a targeted population to serve. So this grant allocation this year is $977,946. So those are formula grants. The next set of grants that I wanted to highlight are those that we have to go out for. It's kind of like going out to bid for something. They say, hey, we're looking for proposals. That's what an RFP stands for, a request for proposals. So two of our programs, Preschool for All Children and Prevention Initiative, were initially competitive grants that over the last, was it 2 or 3 years, Dr. Chesky? That it could have been 4 years ago, I can't remember exactly when, we had to go out and competitively apply for these grants. And we're in a multi-year cycle because we did get awarded. It was a multi-year project because, again, they don't want to fund us and give us money for 1 year, and then we start these programs, the funding dries up, and then what happens? So they're continually giving us money for the preschool program, and it funds salaries and benefits, curriculum updates, enrichment opportunities such as field trips, materials and supplies. And Prevention Initiative is the name of the grant, but PATS is the program that funds that. And the total, those are state grants, and those are almost $500,000. Going off a little bit into smaller dollar amounts, that these are truly competitive grants. They tend to be smaller. We typically are awarded the Illinois State Library grant, so it's not a shock for you to see that we were awarded that. And this past month, on April 4th, we found out that we got $894, but we'll take it, right? It helps to offset costs for licenses, for interventions that we can purchase through media services or books. This was an exciting opportunity this year, the Safe Routes to School grant. Dr. Borszewski brought me into this little conversation with the village of Schiller Park, the police department, and said, hey, there's some money out there. Would the district be willing to help us try to grab up some of this money available? And it's called the Safe Routes to School, and what we applied for the grant is for traffic control devices and vehicle speed feedback signs around the schools. So this way, we're encouraging more families to either walk or ride their bikes to school. So we had to really work hard with the village, with the police department, get a lot of data, talk to the mayor because this is a matching grant. So the village had to say, oh yes, we'll give some money too if we do get this award. So this was, we wrote the grant for just over $108,000. We'll find out in late June if we are awarded some of this funding for that particular project. And then the latest grant program that we are going to be targeting is the Title III Award for Program Improvement Activities. And Dr. Borszewski just learned about this one, I think it was this week, the last week. And we've already sent in our intent to apply for this one. And it specifically looks at improvements in our ELL program. So we're very excited about that. We'll be working with the teachers and administrators to be able to get some of this funding, and that would be between $5,000 and $10,000. And those awards will be announced in June as well. So the total for these particular grants that I highlighted, these are the secured grants. We already have them, so this doesn't count for the Safe Route to Schools or the Title III Program Development Grant. So you could see how much money that we're getting, and that doesn't even include the general state aid, free and reduced meals program, teacher written grants. We are very lucky to have teachers who take their own time to write tremendous grants that allow kids to have great opportunities, and administration works on that. Like I said, the career fair grant, Mr. Amsler heads that up so we can secure funding for that. So that's just a little update for you. And if you have any questions about that set aside before we move on, that Dr. Borszewski brought up about using it for out-of-state travel, I can answer questions about that.
I just want to thank Kathy. She does an outstanding job managing all these grants. Making counselor in there, you know, she's all over everybody all the time. So thank you, Kathy, you do an outstanding job with that, thank you.
Thank you very much. I was going to say thank you too, this was very informative. I can tell this is for your passion.
Oh, I love it. I love getting money.
Yes.
Any other questions? Going to action now. I would like to entertain a motion the Board of Education approve the Power School contract as presented. Moved by Mary Ann. Second by Keena. Any questions?
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Kowalski?
Yes.
Sotero?
Yes.
Stuckey?
Yes.
Juanio, yes. Flanagan?
Yes. Okay, I would like to entertain a motion the Board of Education approve the KGI landscape contract as presented. Make a motion.
Second?
There was no raise on it this year, right? Landscaper didn't raise us at all this year, so anyway. Any other questions? Call roll.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Kowalski?
Yes.
Sotero?
Yes.
Stuckey?
Yes.
Juanio, yes. Flanagan?
Yes.
I would like to entertain a motion that the Board of Education approve the NCLB/Title I statewide plans as approved. You, Mary Ann?
Yep.
Thank you. I'll second. Any questions?
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Kowalski?
Yes.
Sotero?
Yes.
Stuckey?
Yes.
Juanio, yes. Flanagan?
Yes. I'd like to entertain a motion, Board of Education, set board meeting dates and times for the 2014-15 school year as presented. Mary Ann, a second. I'm going to keep on the same day. Any questions?
Can't believe we're going to meet on tax day.
All in. Go ahead,
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Kowalski?
Yes.
Sotero?
Yes.
Stuckey?
Yes.
Downs? Oh, sorry, absent. Juanio, yes. Flanagan?
Yes.
I would like to entertain a motion, the Board of Education approve the 2014-15 parent/student/teacher handbook for Kennedy, Washington, and Lincoln Middle School as presented. I'll make a motion.
Second.
Second by Rick. Any questions on the handbook?
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Kowalski?
Yes.
Sotero?
Yes.
Stuckey?
Yes.
Juanio, yes. Flanagan?
Yes.
Okay, we're going to go into personnel. I would like to entertain a motion, the Board of Education accept the resignation of the following certified staff at the end of the 2013-14 school term. Melissa Glenn, 6th grade science teacher at Lincoln Middle School. I'll make a motion.
Second. Kaczynski?
Yes.
Kowalski?
Yes.
Sotero?
Yes.
Stuckey?
Yes.
Juanio, yes. Flanagan?
Yes.
I would like to entertain a motion that the Board of Education accept the resignation of the following classified staff at the end of the 2013-14 school year. Kimberly Reich, occupational therapist. I'll make a motion.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Kowalski?
Yes.
Sotero?
Yes.
Stuckey?
Yes.
Juanio, yes. Flanagan?
Yes.
I would like to entertain a motion, the Board of Education accept the intent to retire from the following certified staff. Dawn Firestead? Okay, that worked. Music teacher at Washington School, effective at the end of the 2016-17 school year.
I'll second.
Gina?
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Kowalski?
Yes.
Sotero?
Yes.
Stuckey?
Yes.
Juanio, yes. Flanagan?
Yes.
If you're honored, congratulations, working. I would like to entertain a motion that the Board of Education accept the termination of Denise Satorio, bus driver. I'll make a motion.
Kaczewski?
Yes.
Kowalski?
Yes.
Statura?
Yes.
Vaseki?
Yes.
Iwanio, yes. Flanagan?
Yes.
Okay, executive session. I'd like to entertain a motion, Board of Education adjourn to executive session at 8:07 p.m. to discuss the employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the public body or legal counsel for the public body, including hearing testimony on a complaint lodged against an employee of the public body or against legal counsel for the public body to determine its validity. Litigation when the action against affecting or on behalf of a particular body has been filed and is pending before a court or administrative tribunal, or when the public body finds that the action is probable or imminent, in which case the basis for the finding shall be recorded and entered into the minutes of the closed meeting, and for discussion of minutes of meetings lawfully closed under the Open Meetings Act, whether for purpose or approval of the body of the minute or semi-annual review of minutes as mandated by section 2.06.
I'll second.
Kaczewski?
Yes.
Kowalski?
Yes.
Statura?
Yes.
Vaseki?
Yes.
Iwanio, yes. Flanagan?
Yes.
We're going to go into executive session now, and if you want to come to the board.
Oh, yeah.
Diane, before we open, you got anyone willing?
How are you? Good. Yourself? Good.
Just want to let you know that no, your watch is going to not stop.
Hey, where? I see they took care of you. Yeah, plates and everything.
I was out.
Oh, I made them for you,
Okay, ready? I'd like to entertain a motion, the Board of Education reconvene to the regular board meeting at 8:40 p.m.
I'll move.
I'll second. I'll give it to you.
Okay, Kaczewski?
Yes.
Kowalski?
Yes.
Statura?
Yes.
Vaseki?
Yes.
And Iwanio, yes. Flanagan?
Yes.
I would like to entertain a motion that the Board of Education in the closed session meeting minutes from March 2011 through February 2014 remain closed to the public.
I'll move.
Moved by Tina, I'll second.
Kaczewski?
Yes.
Kowalski?
Yes.
Statura?
Yes.
Vaseki?
Yes.
Iwanio, yes. Flanagan?
Yes.
Motion passed.
I would like to entertain a motion, the Board of Education adjourn the meeting of April 16, 2014 at 8:41 p.m. Any questions? Motion by Rich,
I'll second.
second by Tina.
Kaczewski?
Yes.
Kowalski?
Yes.
Statura?
Yes.
Vaseki?
Yes.
Iwanio, yes. Flanagan?
Yes.
Thank you, and have a happy Easter.
Happy Easter, everybody.
We have to sit down.